I've got 5 accessories for the GH6 that I think are must-haves that's just gonna make life so much easier when you go to shoot video with this camera right here. So I'm gonna go through what the product is, why I think it is a must-have, a brief look at how it works, how much it is, and where to find it, and I'm just gonna answer that question right now. I have links down in the description, and they are affiliate links, which totally help support this channel when you use them, which I really do appreciate. If you're new here, my name is Caleb, and I have a ton of content about Lumix cameras like the GH6, S5 II, S5 IIX. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This video is not sponsored. These are products that I use on a regular basis that I feel like makes life so much easier when I film with the GH6 or really with any other camera. The SmallRig Black Mamba cage for the GH6. I absolutely love this Black Mamba cage for the GH6 because it fits so tight on the camera body. I really like caging up my cameras because I feel like it just adds a layer of protection, but also for all these like accessory points, you can mount them right here to the cage and you're able to kind of build a cinema rig around this camera. There's not a whole lot that goes into how a cage works. Really, you just put it on the outside of the camera, and the Black Mamba cage actually comes with a little accessory key. So if you need to tighten any screws to secure it, it does come with this little key that is magnetized and just goes right to the bottom. A couple other things about this cage is that you can actually get it with this accessory port lock. I did take a couple of the fasteners off, but it does tighten to your HDMI cable or to your USB-C cable. So you know those aren't gonna pop out when you are rigged up with some of these other accessories. Black Mamba cage also comes with a top handle, but I'm not gonna use it in this video talking about these accessories. So the price of the Black Mamba cage for the GH6 comes in at $169. And I really do think that is a good investment if you want to protect your GH6 and mount other accessories to it and build a cinema rig around it. Camera monitor. The next accessory that I'm going to talk about is the OC Lilmon 5.5 onboard monitor. And really any other monitor will work, but this one in particular is super budget friendly, coming in at $189. And this is a 4K monitor at 1000 nits that is going to be bright enough if you need to film things outdoors. So if you're a wedding filmmaker, this is a perfect monitor for some of those situations. So to set it up, all you do is put it on the hot shoe mount or cold shoe mount. If you have a top handle, you could mount it to that as well. It does have different mount points on here, but it comes with the angle arm so that if you aren't using any top handle or any other accessories to mount a monitor, you can just mount it right on the hot shoe mount. And since this is a 4K monitor, you will be able to get that 4K 60 output onto this monitor to monitor that, but you're gonna need a fast HDMI cable. Really, you can get a bunch of different ones, but this one right here is the Adamus. So you got the port on the back of the monitor and then straight into the HDMI port on the GH6. I'm not gonna go through all the settings and everything on this monitor. This is just a quick look at it, quick setup. I do have another video about this monitor which you can check out right up here, and I go through some quick setup settings about this OC Lilmon 5.5 monitor. It does not come with a battery, so you are going to have an MP style battery for powering this monitor. So that's something to take into consideration if you do purchase this OC onboard monitor. SSD drive. Next accessory that I'm going to talk about is an SSD drive for recording some of the high bit rates that you can shoot with the GH6. And this is a very inexpensive way to record on your GH6. I have a whole video about SSD recording that you can check out popping up right here. If you're going to shoot in a ProRes format or some of the other high bit rate formats, you're going to want an SSD drive because first of all, something like this is a very fast write speed. So it's going to be fast enough to process some of those files. Second of all, you're going to have a ton of storage with something like this. This is a 1 terabyte SanDisk, but you can go up to a 2 terabyte. And so you'll get like 6-8 hours of record storage depending on the format that you're shooting. And so if you're doing events or anything like that, it's just a ton of storage and you don't have to swipe out SD cards or CF Express cards. The third thing I like about SSD recording is that you can really just take this drive to your computer and start editing off this drive if you want. It makes for an interesting and quick workflow. Lumix does have some, sanctioned SSD drives that they recommend for recording. The SanDisk is one, the Samsung T5 is one, and the price range is really going to vary depending on the size that you get and the type of drive that you get. So something like this would be, like around $100 or less. The 2 terabyte is like $120. Some of these drives could go up to about $200, $300. But I think it is a very good investment, especially for the GH6 and SSD recording. So I'm just using a little SmallRig mount for mine. You just hook it up to the SSD drive and then turn on SSD recording in the menu. Variable ND. Variable ND is something that you're gonna want to definitely have, and this is the Freewell magnetic version that comes in around $399. And to get a good variable ND, something that's not going to mess with your color coming out of the camera, you're gonna wanna spend a little bit more money on a variable ND filter just to have the reassurance that you are getting the colors that you want from how you're shooting. This is just an end of a lens variable ND. Now Lumix, if you do want to add some built-in ND filters, that would be amazing on any future cameras. So something like this just screws onto the end of the lens. This comes with a lens cap, and then I can swap out these variable sliders. This is a 2 to 5, and then there's a 6 to 9 stop. And if you flip it around, it's actually a CPL filter. So with the GH6, I usually try to shoot as wide open as possible with my aperture. So a variable ND comes in really handy on some of those bright days or bright shooting situations where you need the depth of field, but you don't want to go too slow on the aperture. So I think a variable ND is a must-have, and I really like this Freewell magnetic VND. Side handle. This accessory, the side handle, is actually one of my favorite accessories, and this is the SmallRig wooden side handle, and this comes in around $79. So holding a camera like this is good, but holding a camera like this is great. It just gives you a little bit more balance on the camera, especially if you're doing a lot of handheld work. Just kind of widens your grip, and this wooden grip by SmallRig actually has a very good form on the hand. It comes with a tool that you can magnetically lock in place, has a cold shoe mount and some threads on the top so that you can mount different accessories there if you need to. Since I have my other cold shoe and hot shoe mounts taken up, I can mount a microphone right here if I wanted to get some of the sound effects that I'm shooting. So these are 5 accessories that I think are must-haves for the GH6. And I feel like filming with the GH6 using these accessories just makes life so much easier. So let me know if there's anything that you would add to the list of must-have accessories for the GH6. We can get a conversation started down in the comments. Now, if you want to see how I set up my GH6 for video, for cinematic video, make sure you go check out this video that's popping up on your screen right here. I go through all my settings on the GH6 so that you can just copy those and get rolling filming with your GH6.